Amcrest recently released a new 2K video doorbell that packs some really interesting features that, at least on paper, have the potential to tick all of the boxes that many of us have been desperately asking for. But does it actually live up to the expectations it promises? That's what we're going to find out today in this review of the Amcrest AD410. Full transparency, as always, Amcrest did provide me with this doorbell, but no money changed hands and they do not get to see this video before it goes live. Let's talk about some of the specs and key features that the Amcrest AD410 has. Firstly, it's a 4 megapixel sensor giving you a 2560 by 1920 resolution with wide dynamic range at 15 frames per second, with a really nice wide field of view of 164 degrees. It of course has motion detection, and this new model also has person detection built in locally on the camera, as well as the usual two-way audio. It uses your existing doorbell wiring for power but works over Wi-Fi, and you can record to an internal SD card or to the cloud with a subscription, and it also supports RTSP, meaning you can use it with any NVR of your choice. And the AD410 comes in at a price of $149 US. At the time of filming, it's currently only available in the US, but the previous model, the AD110, was sold here in the EU and also the UK, so I'm hoping it won't be long before we get this model too. Installation is really simple as far as doorbells go. Firstly, you'll need to wire up a tiny little power box into your existing doorbell chime by simply attaching 2 wires, and this regulates the power for the doorbell. Then the only other thing to do is screw the included faceplate into the wall, attach the 2 power wires into the back of the doorbell, and clip the whole unit into the faceplate. Amcrest includes 2 angled wedges inside of the box, one to angle it out from the wall and one that allows you to tilt it more towards the ground. Note that I 3D printed a much more aggressive mount for my doorbell just to really get the optimal angle for my setting. You can also easily snap the whole unit in and out of the mount using the included little eject tool, and this makes it really easy if you ever need to remove it or access the SD card slot in the back. After that, simply add the doorbell to the Amcrest Home app by scanning the QR code either on the back of the doorbell unit itself or inside of the box, and the Amcrest app will walk you through the rest of the setup of connecting it to your Wi-Fi. One nice feature here that you don't often see is that the Amcrest has the ability to work on 2.4 or 5 GHz Wi-Fi, so that you can choose whichever is most suitable for you. It will also ask you what sort of doorbell chime you have, and this doorbell can work with a mechanical or a digital chime, and you can also hook it up to an Amcrest wireless chime that they sell separately. Using the Amcrest app is a mostly positive experience. I really like the layout, it's simple to use, has pretty much all of the features you want and need, and for the most part it does its job well. For the most part, more on that in a sec. On the main page, you will have a list of your Amcrest devices, and then tapping into that list will take you straight into the live stream, where you can toggle the two-way audio controls, the live stream quality, as well as take snapshots and record straight to your phone. Diving into the settings menu, there are a number of options that you can use to control the behavior, and you have pretty much everything you need. You can control the individual settings for both motion detection and human detection, with separate sensitivity, zones, and schedules for both of these options, which I really like to see. Having the ability to be able to turn off all motion detection but have person detection still on is a really nice feature, and I love that you can configure separate zones for both motion and person detection rather than them being both included in one zone. This gives you so much flexibility if you need it. They also both support configuring multiple zones, which again is really appreciated. There doesn't seem to be an option for a privacy mask here though, so just something to be aware of. You can also change the recording resolution, toggle wide dynamic range, as well as control the built-in LED. The built-in LED is actually really cool for illuminating your porch when it's super dark and can be activated by motion or on a schedule. Just be aware that this could mess with the image quality of the recordings depending on your environment, so be sure to test it out first. There are just two minor things I found missing in the settings that I would like to see included. Number one, there is no control over pre and post recording settings, so how long before an event and after an event to record. Luckily, Amcrest have done a good job of recording enough before and after an event by default, but it would still be nice to be able to set that myself. And number two, I'd like to see a bit more control over the notifications. At the moment, you can only have a basic enable or disable push notifications, and you have the option to do so on a basic schedule. But ideally, it would be really nice to see a geofence option here so that you get them only when you are away from your house. A few other things that I ran into that could do with some improvement are mostly around the responsiveness. I'd say like 85 to 90% of the time it's really responsive, it works well, but then occasionally it will just take a little bit longer to do something than it normally does, usually when opening the live feed. Most of the time it's fine, but then it's just that one or two times you're waiting for an extra couple of seconds. It also takes quite a long time for recordings to actually show up. For instance, if you get a notification to say that motion was detected and you press it within the first sort of 60 seconds of getting it, you won't be able to play back the start of the event because it's still recording. Also, these are two really tiny complaints, but I wish that the recordings would autoplay when you open them from the notification rather than waiting for you to hit the play button, and also that the app would remember if I had the stream set to low quality or high quality. Every time you close and reopen the stream, it defaults back to low quality. As you can tell though, I am really nitpicking at flaws here. In terms of the responsiveness of the notification whenever the doorbell button was pressed, which is a critical component, these were excellent. They always worked with no missed events and they came through very quickly. They also include a thumbnail image of who's at the door, although I would like for it to be a little bit bigger, and tapping the notification will take you straight into the live view where you can respond through the two-way audio, of which you can hear a clip of what that sounds like right now. This is what the audio sounds like on the Amcrest AD410. Sounds okay, right? You can also record up to 3 custom quick response messages that can be played out through the speaker on the doorbell, and here is what the speaker sounds like. Hey, give me 2 minutes, I'll be right there. Now let's talk about the all-important image quality, and as mentioned, this is a 4 megapixel sensor at 2560 by 1920 with a really nice 164 degree field of view. It is a little bit of a lower frame rate than you might expect at 15 frames per second. However, honestly, I don't think that is a big deal for a doorbell camera. In my experience, I didn't find myself needing the extra frame rate. In the daytime, you get a pretty good image for this size of sensor, plenty good enough to make out people and faces. But what was super impressive to me was the dynamic range that it had, particularly when enabling the wide dynamic range setting. Take a look at this shot here, which is incredibly challenging, right? We have literally the sun in the worst possible position for the camera, shining directly into the lens, yet you can still clearly make out my face. Honestly, I can't overstate how impressed I was with this particular shot. I can almost guarantee that the vast majority of cameras would have been completely unusable in this particular situation. Also, that sun looks pretty freaking cool, right? Nighttime performance was also really good. Again, it did take me by surprise at just how good the footage was, particularly the infrared LEDs combined with the image processing on the camera do a very good job of not just completely blowing out my face, which a lot of other cameras do. Really impressive job here of managing the exposure. Motion detection and person detection works really well also. Person detection can take a few seconds extra to notify you over the standard motion detection, so you may want to fine tune your sensitivity so that you don't miss the start of events. Again, this is where it would be useful to be able to adjust the seconds before recording time, as very occasionally I would find it missing the very start of the clip when it was using person detection only. But again, that only happened very occasionally. Overall, the person detection works really well in both daytime and nighttime settings. In terms of storage, you have everything you could really want here. You can record locally to the doorbell itself using an SD card, or Amcrest also has a cloud offering for a monthly subscription fee where they have different plans and different price points. Or a massive feature of this camera is that it supports RTSP, meaning that you can use it with any NVR you want, or something like Blue Iris, and that makes this so powerful and really really opens up a ton of options, and that feature alone puts this camera in a very select group. Really glad to see that they have given the storage some real thought. They really have kept everyone happy by making all three of these options available. Unfortunately, there is no Google Home or Alexa support here, at least not officially. However, Home Assistant fans, rejoice! This doorbell works with the official Amcrest integration to give you the live feed as well as motion tracking, and via the community-made integration you can get everything working, including motion detection, person detection, and even the button presses, which is excellent. Since it's available through Home Assistant, you could then also make it available to Alexa and Google Home in theory, but I haven't yet tried that. I absolutely love this wired doorbell from Amcrest. It has so many really great features, including some AI features. The image quality is pretty good in both daytime and nighttime settings, especially how it handled that super bright environment, and it gives you the freedom to capture and store the footage pretty much however you want. It's also one of the very few doorbells that actually fully integrates and makes all of the features available to Home Assistant, all for a really great price, and it's definitely a doorbell I am confident in recommending. But what do you guys think about this new doorbell offering from Amcrest? Do let me know in the comments down below. I know tons of you guys were really interested in seeing this doorbell, so really keen to hear what your thoughts were. If you want to support the channel, you could do so by becoming a patron on Patreon, and your support allows me to keep on making these videos. Thank you to all my current Patreon supporters. As always, your support is very much appreciated. Make sure to drop this video a like and get subscribed, and I'll see you in the next video.